Hey, my friends, this is Tom Cotter, and you're listening to The Impactivist Show. This is a podcast that connects you with ideas, habits, and leaders who are making an impact in their community and across the globe. In this podcast, you'll be inspired by their stories and their struggles. You'll learn tips and strategies to enhance your own personal growth, your life, and become the very best version of yourself that you can be. And you'll walk away with a renewed sense of empowerment and motivation to make an impact in your world right where you are. So welcome to the Impactivist Show, where inspiration and ideas collide. Thanks for being here. Hey, what's good, podcast? It's Tom. Quick episode. This week, I want to drop this into your ears, into your brain, because it's really triggered something in me, and I want to share it with you real quick. See, when I was in high school, I was in one of probably the nerdiest clubs on campus. I went to Sterling High School, and one of the things that I was involved in as a freshman and a sophomore was something called Junior Classical League. And that sounds real fancy, but in reality, it was the Latin Club. I mean, we were just a bunch of word nerds who were taking Latin in school, and we had this extracurricular club that we would go to UIL competitions, and we would do things. And there were all kinds of things. There were things like speech and photography, where you took pictures or you did things that had to do with culture. One of those things was mythology. And so as you studied mythology, there's this great story about a father and son named Daedalus and Icarus. You probably know Icarus. You've seen The Flight of Icarus, this story about this guy with wings who drowned. Well, here's the deal. The father, Daedalus, built this labyrinth, right? He built this maze, and the whole purpose of the maze was to imprison this beast called a minotaur. Okay? It was a body of a man and a face of a bull. Well, the long story short is a hero from Athens named Theseus goes in and kills this minotaur, and so the father gets thrown in jail, into the prison, into this labyrinth, because he helped Daedalus escape. So King Minos imprisons him and his son Icarus, throws him into the labyrinth next to the sea in Crete. Well, in order to escape this prison, the father makes wings, right? You know the story. The father makes these wings to escape prison. He collects fallen feathers from the birds that flew overhead. He sews them together and he coats them with wax from the candles that they had. And the day comes for them to leave. Their plan was they were going to fly out of this prison, fly across the sea, and Daedalus tells his son Icarus, don't fly too high because the heat of the sun is going to melt the wax and you're going to drown, right? Well, the story goes, of course, Icarus began to soar upward towards the sun. The blazing sun melted and softened the wax that held all these feathers together, and they fell off one by one. Well, of course, Icarus lost his wings, and he falls into the sea, and he does drown. See, Icarus was foolish, and he flew too high. He fell into the south end of the Aegean Sea. Today, that's called the Icarian Sea, named after Icarus. So here's the deal, man. We've been told this story for hundreds of generations, and it's been a lesson to teach us the dangers of things like ego and hubris. You know, my grandmother used to say, don't get too uppity. You know what that means? Yeah, don't be too arrogant, right? Don't fly too high. Don't fly too close to the sun. You're going to end up like Icarus. You'll be dead and disgraced and, drowned because of your hubris, because of your ego. Here's the truth. That's not the whole story. Man, that story of Daedalus and Icarus, it's 3,000 years old? But up until a few hundred years ago, all we knew was Daedalus told his son Icarus, don't fly too high because the heat of the sun's going to melt the wax and you're going to drown. The truth is, the father also told Icarus not to fly too low because the sea foam and the mist would soak those feathers on the wings and they would make them too heavy and you would fall into the sea and drown. See, we've been told to abstain from ego, right? From arrogance, which is good. And I think for most of our impactivist community, y'all, ego isn't our problem. It's not thinking too much of ourselves. It's thinking too little. It's flying too low. I think most people in the world today are flying at a much lower level than they were intended to, than they were created to. In the past several months, y'all, I've heard so many people say things like, I'd love to do X, but I don't know how. I don't know how to get started. I don't have the skill set, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the connections or the business background, or I don't have a mentor to help me grow spiritually, intellectually, whatever it is. I think a lot of us have been programmed to see the world, to see our situation, our personal environment as fixed, as if it's already all planned out, that much of it is out of reach, and all those things are only for those people. So today I want to ask a question. Are you ready? I mean, this is just between us. Hey y'all, it's Tom. Listen, I'm jumping in here real quick to tell you that one of the things I'm super passionate about is feeding hungry children who don't have enough to eat this weekend. It's such a big deal. My wife and I started a nonprofit charity called Backpack Friends, where we're feeding thousands of children who otherwise would be going without food while they're not at school, and it's right here in the U.S. We're working hard to make an impact in the lives and communities of those who need it most, and I would love for you to join us in that project. Just go to backpackfriends.com, and for as little as $10 a month, you can be a hero to a hungry child. See, leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about caring for those in your charge. Go to backpackfriends.com to find out how you can be a hero to a child, or just text the number 10 to 512-856-6580 to get started. But now, let's get back to the show. So what if there was an area of your life that you could fly higher in? What if there was one specific area you think, man, I wish I could do X better, or I wish I had more of this, or better that, or I wish my health was better, or my spiritual life was more vibrant, or my relationship with, that person over there was more meaningful. Is there an area that you wish you could fly a little higher in? I mean, maybe you think you're doing all you can, but in reality, maybe you're flying a little bit lower than you were created to fly. Maybe you haven't gone all in on what makes your heart beat because it feels like ego. It feels like arrogance, right? Y'all, I'll tell you a secret. Most servant leaders I know feel this way. Like, I'm nobody, right? Who am I to think that I could do X? I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular girl. If I start doing that, if I start working on that project, that thing that's in my mind, what do people think? They're going to think I'm being arrogant or egotistical or trying to be something that I'm not, trying to be something more than what I was handed to be. Y'all, I've been there. And if that resonates with you, please listen. What if? What if you still have seeds of something amazing in you that need to grow and produce fruit, not just for your sake, but for those who are watching you, for their inspiration, for their encouragement, for you to give them leadership? I mean, you think no one's watching you? You're wrong. And if you think one person can't make a difference, man, you've never tried sleeping in a tent with a mosquito. That's a fact. So this week, do an inventory. Where are you flying too low? I mean, ask yourself, is where I am physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, whatever, am I flying too low right here? Even making those micro adjustments can help make a huge difference in your growth and your outcome. Don't know where to start? And look around your community, your church, your town. Find someone that seems to be ahead of you on this path and just reach out to them. Send them a message, send them an email, send them a text. Send them something that says, hey, you seem to have a great relationship with your spouse. You got any advice for someone who wants to have that? Or, hey, I've been watching and you're always posting pictures on social media about working out or being healthy. Tell me what your routine looks like. Or maybe, hey, I really admire your faith and your sense of peace you seem to have had through all this pandemic thing, man. Tell me what's going on with that. Maybe reach out to someone in our Impactivist group on Facebook or message me there and let's get you moving in a direction that makes you feel like you're flying, makes you feel like you're living on par with what you were created to be. Man, I'll see you in our Impactivist group. I love you. Let's talk soon. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you did, will you do me a favor? Could you hit the subscribe button? Could you share this episode with someone who would be encouraged to hear it? Maybe they just need a little boost right now and you could encourage them. Let them know you're thinking about them and that you thought they might enjoy it. The whole idea behind the Impactivist Show is to spread as much encouragement and empowerment as possible. I mean, let's face it, there's so much negativity and criticism in the world right now. Who couldn't use a little lift? So please, it would mean a lot if you could share and subscribe. Together, we can make a huge impact in the world. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a great day, man. I'll see you soon.
Oh my gosh, that was good.